Real observation of the flow of identical light particles in a laser beam from a stationary source of these light particles in a beam from one laser light emitting diode. Let's briefly turn our attention to the slightly slowed energy space in the laser beam due to the optically symmetrical distortion of the space in the middle of the spherical bulbs and surface video processing. So we can see and feel the fractal feeling of space energy, fractal moving elements and fractal stationary elements, which are formed from peculiar threads from the paths of photons in the laser beam from a single common source of blue photons in the laser beam. All photons are generated by a laser light emitting diode up to 1 millimeter in size. Energy manifests itself during observations in the form of electromagnetic radiation. What even happens in the space around us and inside us at the basic material level if energy moves exclusively at the speed of light? How is energy distributed in space? For some reason, particle physicists do not want to tell and show us about the space energy in which we exist based on Einstein's equation and Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. At the same time, elementary physicists confidently continued to search for smaller particles in space. Previously, they were looking for particles from which our surrounding world is built, and gradually found 100 or 2 of these elements, which were presented to us in the form of a periodic table of elements. Physicists chemists even grouped them according to their behavior into metals and nonmetals, and in the middle put a number of transition metals, nonmetals, which with a dual nature. What are these different worlds of metals and nonmetals, and what unite them, all these elements in space? Here, physicists rarely want to talk about the inner world of space in the middle of these elements without a deep understanding of mathematics and physics. If we look into the middle of these elements, we find the next material level there. Atoms of all elements consist of eternal protons and electrons and strange neutrons, which in a free state exist individually for no longer than 30 minutes. Modern elementary physicists were even able to look into the middle of protons, where they saw the strange world of quarks and gluons. All this was structured into the standard model. And now physicists are carefully looking into space in search of an answer to the possible structure without the charged Higgs boson, or the popular name as a God particle. At the same time, physicists do not deny that everything material in space consists of energy, and the surrounding space itself is saturated with energy, or even oversaturated with energy. Here we have a real observation of the flow of light particles in a laser beam from a stationary source of these light particles in a beam from one laser. Energy moves between two balanced worlds of immobile spaces of one middle of the universe, the divine universe, and everything living and thinking is the manifestation of the movement of energy at the speed of light at different intervals of time, on different material levels with respect to time. Everything around us and inside us, as well as our bodies and our thoughts, are actually swimming in a stream of energy moving at the speed of light. We can think quickly, and each of our thoughts allows us to look more closely at a certain element in the space energy. The more carefully we think about something at a moment in time, the slower the whole surrounding world becomes for us. This deceleration is gradual, and in fact we are decelerating very, very little from the speed of light. Since our physical bodies still continue to move at almost the speed of light in the flow of space energy, which basically has the constant speed of light, and deceleration is impossible for it. In such a stream of unattainably fast movement of space energy, there is a possibility of a mathematical and logical step-by-step change in the perception of the surrounding space, which allows us to better feel the world around us at every moment of time. We move from the simple to the complex, and then we analyze the already existing practical paths and make the complex simple, and so on. We develop the cyclical, logical, continuous sequence with interest.